Hello, nerds. Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom TV edition for the week of October 15th, 2018. This week, everything is really small, so this is no exception. All of our shows this week are going to be pretty quick. We're talking Star Wars, Netflix. Things are happening, just not a lot of things are happening, so let's hit the intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander of War, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
First on the list, we have got to talk about the first episode of Titans. It aired on the DC Universe app. They released it. It happened. We watched it. And I'm still holding out. I'm still very iffy on whether or not this is going to be a good series. Very, very iffy on whether or not this is going to be a good series. We did get the F Batman line, though the editing from the trailer versus what actually happens in the episode, it changes slightly, but not anything drastic. It is still definitely Robin distancing himself from the Dark Knight. Not the Dick Grayson any of us have ever known. Not necessarily to his detriment. I mean, yes, the offensive language, being as Dick Grayson is the boy wonder, is a good little Boy Scout. Yes, that was definitely out of character, but the rest of that Robin so far is not super far removed from what we know. The super far removed characters from what is expected still are Starfire and Raven, and there is a sliver of hope that they can fix the direction with Starfire, because there is still the option that, yeah, maybe she is the alien, they're just doing how she came to the planet slightly different than what we know from the animated movies and from the comic books. That still might be able to happen. It doesn't look like that's the way they're going, but there was an announcement. The actress playing Starfire did say that by the end of the first season, we will see Starfire in a more comic, true, in a more true to comics costume. So she'll look less like a streetwalker and more like a superhero. That's always a good thing. But the Ravens beyond fixing. There is a slight chance that they can get closer to the character we know from the comic books, but getting her spot on at this point is really, really improbable and highly unlikely. Again, Beast Boy, from the little bit we got of him in the first episode, yeah, he's the one that they got the closest. There's nothing that they've really screwed up yet. As the season progresses, that very well could change. I don't know if it's going to, because he's a pretty good, solid character. Why would you change it? But then why would you change what they've changed about Raven and Starfire? And also, why would you change the Robin-Batman dynamic in such a drastic, horrible way? I don't know. So maybe they will get it wrong. We just can't call that until it happens. And that's all we've got for Titans. We're going to kick on next to more Mandalorian updates. This is kind of two updates about Mandalorian, but they're very, very heavily related. The first of which is, not only are we getting the pilot directed by Dave Filoni, we are also getting episodes directed by Deborah Chow, who has done stuff on Jessica Jones, and Rick Famuyiwa, who's done Dope. I don't recognize the name, but apparently he's somebody of note. Taika Waititi, who we all know as the guy who did Thor, but he's done other stuff too, like What We Did in the Shadows and so on and so forth. And also Bryce Dallas Howard are going to be directing. And then the second bit of news surrounds Taika Waititi and Bryce Dallas Howard. Both of them are going to show up as characters in the series as well. Taika is doing a voice for a droid. Bryce Dallas Howard's part has not been released yet, so maybe she'll be a voice, maybe she'll be an on-screen character. Very likely, though, both of their roles will be just real quick cameos. I can't imagine that they would have them both in such heavy capacities as a main character and the director. But they're each, from what it sounds like so far, they're each directing a single episode. They're not getting multiple episodes, except for Dave Filoni, which, good on him. He's an executive producer, and he was the showrunner for Rebels and the other animated series, Clone Wars. So yeah, it's pretty great. I'm super excited for what they're going to do with Mandalorian. Favreau's hands are very, very capable as showrunner, so that only spells good things. Next on our list, we are talking about Iron Fist. It was announced this week that there will not be a season 3, in spite of the better ratings that season 2 got, in spite of the better fan reaction that season 2 got. It has been canceled. No more Iron Fist. Kind of. There is the strong possibility that we will get a new series for the Immortal Instruments, which has Iron Fist. Iron Fist is part of that team. We also know that he's going to be back in Daredevil and Luke Cage, both of their season 3s. So he's not gone entirely. Finn Jones definitely still has a job, especially, and this is given a lot more weight, considering that there was some heavy inferences that happened in season 2 that kind of lead us to believe that, yeah, they're going Immortal Instruments and not strictly just Iron Fist, which is probably a good thing, because nothing that's come out of the Iron Fist camp has been really that worth watching. So that's where we're at on that one. We're kicking on next to The Walking Dead. This one actually got announced a couple weeks ago, and I missed it, and I can't believe I missed it. First, the season started, so if you have not seen the first episode of The Walking Dead, and a lot of you haven't, because it was half of their lowest opening season opener views, this is the worst rated season opener that they've had ever. They're rated, I guess rated is not the word. Ranking? No. Viewed. They're worst viewed. So go watch it. It's gonna fix what people... I really, really believe that the primary complaints that people have about this series are going to be addressed in this season. One of those complaints being that we don't get enough zombies anymore. This is a show all about the post-apocalyptic zombie invasion, and now we're not even really dealing with zombies that much, which I would definitely argue, but that's not what we're here to do. We're just here to have the conversation. It was announced, this is the announcement that happened a couple weeks ago, Ryan Hurst and Samantha Morton, actually it was a little over a week ago, so we should have talked about it last week and we didn't. Ryan Hurst and Amanda Morton have been cast as Alpha and Beta for this season, which means we are getting the Whisperers in this season, which means we're going to be getting a lot more zombie action, because that's the Whisperers' whole thing, is they dress up like the zombies, and that's how they're the bad guys, and you read the comic books. But yeah, it's an awesome announcement. Ryan Hurst, you know him as Opie from Sons of Anarchy. He was also in Remember the Titans, and that's really all that's coming to mind right now. But yeah, he's definitely capable of doing some fantastic stuff, and to see him as a villain is going to be so awesome. I'm really not familiar with Samantha Morton, so I don't know if I should be excited about her, but I'm definitely excited about Ryan Hurst. That is that announcement, though. We're kicking next to a real quick bit about Batwoman. We got the first look of Ruby Rose in the suit, which you're seeing on screen right about there. Episode 1 of the new season of Flash, speaking of Batwoman, because that's going to lead us into the crossover event. Episode 1 references Crisis on Infinite Earths, so that's not going to be directly related to this season. It looks like they're going to start building into that, perhaps next season or even 2 seasons out. That will be the crossover event, and it will be a huge crossover event. They're just starting to plant those seeds now, which makes a ton of sense, because in previous crossover events, they start kind of laying the groundwork inside the season, so it can only be so big. Now, to make it bigger, they're leading in a season or 2 ahead of time. So, definitely excited about that, but that's all we have for Batwoman and or Flash, aka the Arrowverse, even though we didn't talk about the Arrow. Last thing that we are talking about this week on your TV news update is Netflix's horror series, Haunting of Hill House, just launched 2 days ago. I already binged the entire season. It is phenomenal. The first half of it's 10 episodes, so the first 5 episodes are some of the best horror I have seen in a long time. Not just horror television, but horror even movies-wise. This sets such a great tone, and you've got plenty of time to let it breathe, and oh, it's beautiful. The ending does get a little iffy, definitely, once you kind of see where it starts heading, around about episode 7, 8-ish. Then it's like, okay, I see what's going to happen. They kind of turn that a little bit on its ear. I'm not going to give away too much, but it subverts your expectations a little bit. So it's only slightly disappointing, instead of like, really? I just spent 10 hours watching it so it could do that for me? This is like, okay, I understand. I would have probably chosen a different direction, but I can get behind it. Which is a lot more than you can say about most modern horror. Either way, highly, highly recommended series. Go check out The Haunting of Hill House over on Netflix, and that is where we're ending this week's episode, guys. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper in the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That is the place to go get all the freebies, all the social media links, and the store links to get your nerdy swag. Patreon is a thing, patreon.com/generallynerdy. That is the place to go support the channel a little more directly. You can jump on for just $1 a month, and you get a lot more content for that $1. You get early access to content, so go check it out. Generally Nerdy on Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you're new to this channel, though, click the subscribe button. If you like the episode, click the like button. If you are falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap that box right there to the left of my face to do that. But before you do, guys, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.